You know that phone in your pocket? Or the maps you use to get around? Even the network connecting us right now. It all feels so new, right? So modern? But what if I told you that the entire digital world we live in, it has this secret origin story? And it all started with a single moment of crisis that, well, it changed everything.
I mean, think about it. The internet, GPS, artificial intelligence. These are, without a doubt, three of the most transformational technologies ever. They seem totally separate, don't they? But they're not. They all share this one single, really surprising point of origin, a common ancestor, you could say.
So what is it? A genius inventor in a garage? Nope. A Silicon Valley startup? Not even close. It was a government agency. A secretive one at that. It was created for one specific purpose, to fund the impossible and make absolutely sure that the United States would never be caught off guard by technology again. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to rewind the clock. Let's go all the way back to the late 1950s. Picture this, a tiny, little metal sphere just beeping away as it orbits the Earth. And that little beep sent an absolute shockwave through the entire American establishment. Yeah, that little sphere was Sputnik 1, launched by the Soviet Union in 1957. And let me tell you, it wasn't just a technological surprise. It was a huge psychological blow. So what did the US do? The response was incredibly fast. We're talking just months later, in 1958, President Eisenhower created this brand new agency, ARPA, with one crystal clear mission. This never happens again. Now, ARPA's whole philosophy was different, totally unique. They weren't interested in funding safe, small steps forward. No, their goal was to swing for the fences. They were there to make huge, risky bets on completely revolutionary ideas. They called it high-risk, high-gain research. They weren't looking for the next slightly better tank. They were looking for paradigm-shifting, fundamental breakthroughs. And you know what? Calling it the agency that shaped the modern world, that is not an exaggeration. Not at all. We're talking about a pretty small agency, maybe a couple hundred people, tops, and yet they planted the seeds for almost every piece of technology that defines our lives today. It's kind of mind-blowing. So here's the puzzle, right? How does an agency born out of Cold War paranoia end up creating the digital world we all live in? Well, the answer is simple. They didn't just fund projects. They funded a community of brilliant and, let's be honest, often pretty eccentric visionaries. I mean, just look at this list. It's basically a greatest hits of computing history. ARPANET, yeah, that became the internet. Time-sharing computers, computer graphics, word processing, the very first computer mouse, and, of course, the earliest research into artificial intelligence. They were literally bankrolling the entire digital revolution before anyone else even knew a revolution was coming. And that's the key thing to remember. ARPA wasn't just throwing money at ideas. They were investing in people. People like the legendary AI pioneer Marvin Minsky, and this whole community of, well, hackers at places like MIT and Stanford. These were folks who were just driven by a pure, passionate curiosity to see what these machines could do. And to give you a sense of just how wild this time was, get this. Two of these pioneers, Alan Newell and Herbert Simon, listed their AI program, the actual software, as a co-author on a paper they submitted to a scientific journal. They saw it as a collaborator, not just a tool. Of course, the journal's editor rejected it. I mean, can you imagine? He had no idea he was staring at the very dawn of a new era. So this funding, it wasn't just about abstract ideas. It produced incredible raw power. We're talking about the successors to those early machines, supercomputers like the Cray YMP-90. This thing could perform over 2.5 billion operations every single second. That's a number that was it was science fiction just 10 years before. And this machine, which they nicknamed Barney because it was bright purple, it ran so fast, so hot, that it could literally melt itself. It needed its own special liquid coolant constantly pumped through its guts just to keep it from melting into a puddle on the floor. Now that's the kind of power we're dealing with. But you know how it goes. This golden age of just unlimited curiosity and practically unlimited funding, it couldn't last forever, and it didn't. By the early 1970s, the political winds started to change, and a long, deep chill, an AI winter, was about to set in. The big turning point was something called the Mansfield Amendment in 1973.
And this just changed the whole game. All of a sudden, DARPA couldn't just fund pure pie-in-the-sky research anymore. Nope. From now on, every single project had to have a direct military application. That wide-open frontier of scientific curiosity, it just got a big fence built around it by political reality.
And believe me, the cuts were brutal. This quote here really captures the mood. It was said that some of these researchers were going to be taught a lesson. I mean, imagine having your $2 million a year contract cut to almost nothing overnight. That's what happened to the big labs at MIT, Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, the very places where this digital revolution was born. It wasn't just a budget cut. It felt personal. It felt punitive.
But, and this is the crazy part, here's the twist in the story. This whole AI winter had this unbelievable unintended side effect. Where did all those brilliant researchers go? They didn't just quit. They left the universities and went on to help create legendary private sector labs, like Xerox PARC. They basically seeded the companies that would go on to build the entire personal computer industry. How's that for an unexpected outcome? Okay, so fast forward to today. You might be thinking, has DARPA lost its edge? Is it still relevant? Oh yeah, far from it. The agency's mission to just invent the future is still going strong with projects that are just as ambitious as they've ever been. I mean, check this out. We're talking about AI-piloted fighter jets that can go head-to-head with human pilots and win. We're talking about these massive autonomous submarines called manta ray that can just roam the oceans by themselves for months. They're even working on a nuclear thermal rocket for operations around the moon. The high-risk, high-gain DNA, oh, it is absolutely still there. So here's the bottom line. For more than 65 years, from the internet to AI and now to the future of space, this one single agency has been making the high-risk bets that have consistently defined our future. Their whole philosophy really boils down to one simple idea. The best way to predict the future is to go out and invent it yourself. And all of this leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? The DARPA model, this government-funded, high-risk approach, was, without a doubt, wildly successful. But now, we're in a totally new era, right? An era of incredibly powerful AI, where the private sector often dominates. So is that old model still the right way to go? Who should really be in the driver's seat when it comes to guiding our technological future? It's definitely something to think about.